All right, so again, to stress that this is very informal, you can pretty much say whatever you want, and we'll just go with the
Fuck asset.
first thing that we can get into is just looking back at deadline day yesterday. If like there were like any moves that like took took you guys by surprise or like grabbed your attention or anything. Anyone that made a move that might have surprised you.
Well, we'll start off with.
Go ahead, Bobby.
Well, I mean, Warren. I mean, obviously, you gave us an explanation of why you did it, change of formation, but just seeing Memphis leave, that was just completely caught off guard.
Yeah, and like I said, like in my little blurb, it's just because he was playing like right wing for me, so it just wasn't a fit anymore. Like I still really like Depay. Like I would obviously use him again in future iterations of FIFA. He's my guy, but it just wasn't working like this season. So we'll just see. Like moving forward, it's the end of the cycle, so might as well like just try and move to end it. And then if we want to reunite in FIFA 23, we can do that.
Don't say that. I absolutely love Webb's pickup of Sutalo, because obviously that was the guy I was hinting at chat the other day, being a starter for Croatia, but very surprised that he's available. And Webb's using a top 3 waiver pick to get him. Still feel like that was a good move on his part.
Yeah, that's probably the most surprising for me. I mean, seeing Warren drop former MVP or whatever is kind of has a visceral reaction, but like you said, it makes sense for the way he's playing. Getting burning the number 3 waiver pick. As much as I like Sutalo, he's still a defender, But we'll see. Like you said, starter at the World Cup. Croatia makes the final again. Gonna look smart.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Was the Lukaku move today on deadline day? Or was that previous to that?
Was the window before deadline day, I believe.
I mean, all right, no deadline day. Because that was, I mean, I'm not going to say it's bidden Seb, but that's a big move. That's a big move out. Someone that was so coveted came in and did a real strong job for Barcelona. Almost instant impact for him to now be a free agent for the rest of the cycle. That was big for me.
Came out and said some bad words about management. Had to take a stance.
Also, he moved like a tank to quote Seb.
It was horrible. But I surely missed him today.
Yeah, because the chance that Moreno like shanked towards the end of your guys' game, you have to wonder if Lukaku buries that.
I think I had 2 right there shanked to the left of the post, to the right of the post, and I think Lukaku would have made at least one of those. But I had to give it a shot. Yeah, he did move like a tank, though. I couldn't a lot of my passes were like bouncing off him, so I was like, that's not gonna work.
Surprised that we didn't see any Red Wings moves. So
he liked his roster. I tried to hit him up for a trade, and he was just like, "No one's available, no discussions of any kind." I know I know half my academy was off the waiver wire 2 weeks ago, so it's not like it's super attractive for anyone. But I was so surprised that he didn't even He was just like, "Nah, not gonna happen," which is fair enough.
Preseason to get Lamptey and Traore, so he said.
Say that again.
I said he made his moves with me preseason to get Lamptey and Traore, so he's set now.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, yep.
All right. Any other moves you guys want to discuss, or you want to move to the next topic?
I mean, I think there was a few just worth mentioning. The Guido drop was kind of interesting. I think there wasn't a flurry of moves, but I thought there was a number of maybe quality over quantity. I guess I'm not critiquing the move overall as a whole, but it was still kind of an eyebrow raise because it's an interesting player in my view. So that was another one I think worth mentioning.
Yeah,
I think
young,
that's going
high
to be,
potential player.
and I think it's going to go in line with a series of moves that we're going to see in this offseason that are going to be kind of eyebrow raising, just because of the fact that we're getting into like the rosters being so stacked, and inevitably, like Warren is probably agonizing over the drops he's going to have to make. It's a lot of us are also now up against that same thing. We're going to have to inevitably drop somebody we don't want to.
Exactly. But it's going to be interesting because come the next cycle, there's going to be a lot of talent out there for teams. Going to be a very interesting offseason for everyone.
There's a lot of talent available, but most of it seems like 3 years away to me. Not that I'm any expert, but I find a number of guys I like, but I'm like, yeah, this guy's like going to be sick in like FIFA 25. Like, is he going to be sick in FIFA 23? Maybe. Who knows? You never know. But it's, it's a lot of 18 to 20 year olds or 16 to 20 year olds.
It all depends on the real life situation of the players, that kind of propels them. Yeah, like just watch Pedri and Gavi.
The biggest growth usually comes from guys that may not have like that high end potential. Like I was looking at Vitinha today on Webb's roster, and I think he started this cycle off at like a 68 or 70 or something, and the dude's got like 86 potential now. It's already mid to high 70s. It's
for sure.
It's not just like trying to find that dude that's still out there that has like an 86 potential. It's really just finding that guy that either played a lot this year or has the potential to play a lot next year. That growth just comes with them actually finally getting some first team playing time.
Like a certain youngster from Manchester United.
Yes.
I almost blamed him in that flurry of moves I made. I'm glad I didn't because I was clearly not paying enough attention that he wasn't eligible. So I guess that makes sense.
All right. Any other moves? Anything else?
I promise it's not just the fact that you picked him up, Warren, but I'm very surprised that Enrique was actually available. I know he doesn't have top-notch speed for a fullback, but he's really solid. I'm surprised a left back like that was just sitting there.
Yeah, and I actually think he's very underrated in FIFA right now, because he just had like 9-10 assists as a left back this year in Serie A, League One, and he might make the Brazil national team for their World Cup. So I'm gonna invest in him now and see like if he does get that bump in between cycles or not. It was hard for me to burn my waiver wire on like a fullback, but I really like this dude, so we'll see.
Yeah, that was a good one. He had popped up just kind of high level when I was searching for replacements for Moasa. At the time, I was thinking I needed somebody that I could actually play, so I went with that Mitchell guy, but he sucks. So live and learn.
I, for one, appreciate his positioning in late game situations.
Yeah, you sure do. I bet, huh?
I wouldn't say he sucks. He's just not FIFA good.
Yeah. No, that's what it is, right? And like, after I picked him up, I kind of dug a little deeper on some of his and talked to Dur too. And yeah, he's just your stay-at-home left back, and I'd rather gamble on some kind of wing back upside with my fullbacks. So
very defensive player.
Yeah, definitely.
He's the Aaron Wan-Bissaka left back of Palace.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly what they compare him to. Just on the
Except
other
for his
side.
75 pace. His 75 pace, not whatever.
I think. I mean, he's probably one of those guys in real life that he's faster than that.
That's what I was thinking, but anyway, we'll see. No one picked him up, so I guess I wasn't that far off.
Because he is. I mean, both the games I watched him, I didn't play Palace this year. He did look pretty good as left back, so I didn't notice him being that slow. But
he's not Palacios out there, right?
You said it. I was going to say it, but
Classy doesn't do the problem anymore.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see the speed bump come back next FIFA and just dudes go full on warpath in chat.
I'm burning it down, dude. He's gonna get back to his like 70 pace. He's gonna make the Argentina like World Cup team, and then he's gonna like whatever assist Messi late in an important game or something. He's gonna be like an 85 by this time next year. We'll lose my shit.
All right, and then looks like we covered like all the moves. Let's like transition like into the leagues now. So let's start with like Division 3. So right now, London is on top of the division. He's 8 wins, 1 draw, 0 losses in 9 games on 25 points. Second is Gator on 16 points. Red also has 16 points, just with 1 more game played than Gator. And then you have Kyle and Kev in the last 2 playoff spots there on 15 and 12 points, respectively. So what's your guys' like biggest surprises like in this division so far? Any disappointments? Anyone that you can see like making a late run?
I think the top of the leaderboard is kind of what I think. Obviously I don't want to speak for everybody else, but kind of what I anticipated. Seeing Kyle though, like in that 4th spot, I mean he's kind of wavered in seasons before, so I mean that's not necessarily a total surprise, but I mean I kind of like to see him in that spot. But also like the Wick and Demi-Doug, kind of their first seasons back. I mean, that's kind of, or I think Doug's first season in the league. It's
the one and only Xbox player. Well, actually, J-Face plays Xbox too, but
I mean, he's on 6 points right now, has 2 games in hand.
I'm interested to see how he adapts going into the second half of his season.
Yeah.
Mostly because I don't know much about him other than he's running Xbox before, and he's a fellow United fan, so he can't be that bad.
And he's Pat's mortal enemy by choosing Seattle. So
yeah, I was gonna say Seattle and United, get out of here. Ugh,
and Xbox to boot.
I mean, technically, J-Face is the Xbox player now.
It is true. He is transitioning.
Yeah,
since my name is being brought up, I'm gonna just decided to go ahead and take my break. Had you guys on in the background, and transitioning over to Xbox to do the crossplay here once it hits Game Pass next week. But look for Doug to do some things, turn these draws into some dubs. He kind of plays like me, and where it's a little bit more on the conservative side. So he kind of just needs that one break in a game to really, take the 3 points home. So he's someone that you're probably going to see towards the top of the overall league in terms of just draw numbers, just because of his play style. So I mean, a lot of these draws could very easily be 3 points for him come in the second half of the season, and he may find himself in a playoff spot.
Yeah, it's interesting with him. I would say. Sorry, go ahead.
Just the fact that this being his first season in the league, I don't know who he's actually played here aside from J-Face with them back on Xbox, but I mean now he's getting a second crack at everybody, so. It definitely helps when you start picking up on other people's tendencies and know what to expect and know what their roster is.
Yeah, and all I was going to say is it's interesting to see that. So he's played like 6 games so far, like in a season, but he's only scored like 2 goals and only given up 4 goals in those 6 games. So like very low scoring games. Going to be just interesting to see like if he can like maybe find a little more creative side like offensively to like get his goal numbers up so that he can push himself up the table in the second half of the season. But we'll see.
Anybody want to take a guess at what his score was when he played Red?
0-0.
You are correct, sir.
Did the ball cross half field?
Beamer.gif forever. Right
And then a
now
new
we have. Oh, I was just gonna like just keeping in three. Your current leaderboards in the clubhouse for goal scorers. Darwin Nunez, no surprise there. Liao for Wrexham, and then you have Erling Haaland, and then Anthony. So kind of a double-headed attack leading Wrexham to the top so far right now.
Yeah, and I was gonna piggyback off that because last season we saw Oshorke scoring most of the
Mm-hmm.
goals for Wrexham, and now it looks like his wingers are the ones that are getting the goals, with the Jorke providing like that presence on the inside because he has like 4 assists right now. So if you're looking at London's numbers, he's getting goals and he's getting assists from everyone on his team now. It looks like he's playing like in a real free flow.
How many of those goals came from fixtures against Newcastle, though? Asking for a friend.
Well, I mean, Wrexham has a total of 9 guys on the goal sheet tally. So they're definitely, as Warren said, they're spreading the wealth, and not just one person that's leading the charge.
London also has a 5-0 game that's not on the sheet yet. Pretty
Wonder
good,
who
I'd
that
say.
was against.
He will remain nameless for sake of animosity. Anonymity, whatever that. Well, you know what I'm trying to say. Words are hard.
It's been a season of a system that's worked well, less so the individuals and more the way we've played, which I think is why we've seen that kind of distribution of goals this year. We just need people in the right positions. It doesn't matter who those people.
Les Duncan.
The Duncan really hasn't been a whole lot of Duncan, and I think that's part of to your point where Joke was getting well in amongst the goals last season. He's really not done that this season. And I think the reason for that is just that the change up of play, shifting Mavropanos to a back five. It's kind of given more license for my 2 midfielders to push through, and that's kind of led for a lot more central play, less need for wing play this time around.
So SMS's 9 goal contributions before this next game gets put on the stat sheet, and he's got 2 goal contributions coming from that. Brings us here to my love me some SMS.
I'm a big fan. Commanding presence in midfield. Honestly, maybe it was you that traded him to me, but since the switch from Barella to Pogba has really kind of brought out his best game as well.
Yep, that was a win-win for both of us because Barella's more what I needed in midfield than what Pogba provided. So
for sure.
Glad he's doing well.
For one, hate Barella. Get him out of here.
Yeah, so just looking at the table right now, I would say like London is probably the hands-on favorite to win the division. But how about those playoff matches? Who do you see challenging for the other promotion spot?
I could see Kyle or Kev making a run for it. They definitely have the talent. Mostly Kyle, I think, because I think Kev has had some unlucky games that I've watched. I don't know if that unlock continues or what, but between them two, I can see them making a push for it. But also Gator is just showing everybody what everybody knew he could do. So that's I'm
gonna make a prediction right now that the 4 that you see currently in the playoff spots are going to be the 4 that you see in the playoff spots come the end of the season. The only exception to that is if Wrexham for second half of the season, in which case they might also be in those playoff spots.
Yeah, okay.
This is a little off topic. Is Gator ever been in the dynasty format? And then he was more of a what's his some of the old heads? What's his normal? Is he?
He has actually been in 2.
Yeah, I was going to say this year, I think he had a season in D2.
He did? Okay.
Maybe it's last year. I know he was in D2 at some point.
He was,
in the Dynasty. Okay.
I recall playing him multiple times.
Gotcha. Props to Light the Wick for rattling off 3 straight wins. Maybe it may not end in promotion for him, but it's always good to see a turn in form.
Hey, when Assad lets you get in Nkunku and you're free roam with him, it's going to help your offense.
One thing I'm noticing, looking at the tables, that will be interesting, especially with potential expansion going into the next cycle, is that theoretically KP and Shaggy are both going to be in D3 next year, just because they're not playing right now. It'll be interesting to see if they actually start the year off in D3 with expansion, because those guys are not D3 players.
It's a good time to get out of Division 3. Put it that way. That's really been the extra motivation. Watching those guys fall, I don't want to be there when that happens.
Do we know what the plan is? Is there going to be a D4? Is it going to be a split D3? What? I know it's all tentative at this point, but is there any?
We don't know exactly what the plan will be yet, but the last time we had, we've done it 2 different ways. We once had a C1 and a C2, like in the old format, and we've also done like a straight Division 4 under the Division 3 in an older format. So, dog barking, apologies. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see like how the expansion goes.
It would make sense to put them all together in one thought, but then at the same time, I could also see making a D3 split, north, south, east, west, whatever, and then divvying up the teams in half so that it's not unbalanced.
That might be in like a potential C1 or C2 and just randomize it, make 2 different divisions. But ultimately, it's Red's call, so we'll see like what he wants to do with that. All right, and then any other like parting things you want to say about Division 3 before we move on to the next division? Anyone?
No. Let's get into the most interesting division in TSL D2.
All right. Yep. That brings us to Div 2. And currently, Broth is on top of the table with 16 points with a 5-1-1 record. However, Fizz does have 2 games in hand, and he is undefeated at 5-0-0, and he's only 1 point behind Broth. Behind Fizz, you have Pepperoni, Kyle Active, and Sloppy Fish at 8, 7, and 6 points respectively on 6 games played. And then behind them, you have Webbs, 7 points on 6 games played. So 1 more than the 3 that I just named there. And then that's your playoff spots right there. And then under that, you have Keishan, who looks like he's having a bad season at the moment. RJ, who will be coming back next week. And then at the bottom, you have Scrub, who currently does not have a win yet. So what's sticking out to you in that Division 2 table at the moment?
I mean, you got to be impressed by, the 5-0 kind of the yo-yo club that is Fiorentina right now. It's very much on the up. I think the one thing I will say is this being the end of the cycle, we all know that Fizz is a good manager, and it'll be interesting to see if FIFA 23 can bring back the FIFA 21 Fizz that we know well. If he can finish this cycle on high and get promoted to D1, he can make some waves in D1, I'm sure.
I agree with that.
Yeah. Still have to fix the ping, though. Let's go fix the ping.
Well, I think London was on that list of servers that Kobe posted earlier, so.
Yeah.
I mean, I think to piggyback off that, D2 is really... Go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah. I was just going to make a dumb joke.
Oh, no, please. I'm all for that.
I was just going to say that, London's going to get like a new server or get it adjusted, but it's still going to be across the Atlantic for all of us. So I don't anticipate that much improvement, but you never know.
Yeah. At the end of the day,
games having good connect to our servers too. I mean,
Nailed it. Yeah, I was about to say I think, not to take away from him, he's a great player. For example, last year, every game I played with him was on his server. Now he's getting the home and the away. So I think, I don't know, short of some massive increases in internet technology, I think it's just going to be the way it is for him and for me too, right? To a lesser extent on the West Coast. I mean, obviously you can see that the home versus away form is quite a bit different. But yeah, what I was going to say about D2 is I think it's a really interesting kind of proving ground because it is a mix of teams that really are, basically D1 teams, right? I mean, Fizz is clearly can hang in D1. He's finished third. KP is a former, although he's not playing. And then you kind of, it's a good way to cut your teeth against, kind of former, D1 top level teams. Broth is looking to make his first entrance into D1, and I think that'll be interesting given his play style and his homegrown roster. So yeah, it's just an interesting division to me.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Webb to get into a playoff spot before the end of the year too. The man has thumbs. He's just got to adjust to the gameplay, and he'll be there.
Definitely.
I'd say at the moment. No, go ahead. You were talking for.
I was just gonna say, no matter how hard he sandbags, I think.
Webbs, yeah. Well, he'll eventually make it. He's made great adjustments since failing to qualify from his first season to now. Like Webbs is just taking it by storm. I think he'll climb up the spots in a few. Maybe next season. Who knows?
Would they be the first non-former D1 players that have come up? Has anyone else, other than Fizz when he first came up, I guess, but it's been a while since we've had a non-retread coming back, right? Or am I wrong about that?
No, that's a valid statement. It's been, I think the last one would have been Pepperbrony.
Pepperbrony, yeah, that's a good point.
Are we talking like just Dynasty or like the whole history of TSL?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Oxshot's a newcomer, but he's kind of a legacy. Well, yeah, just kind of new faces, I guess, one way or another.
We've had Pepper, we've had Ishan as well. Obviously, it's definitely it feels like it's a closed club at times in D1, but every once in a while someone permeates through that.
Margins are narrow. I mean, I really consider myself lucky to have not with those yo-yo teams that don't belong. I mean, go look at how close the relegation battles are. It's always close. But anyway, we're talking about D2, so get back on topic.
Thank you, Carlos.
And what I would say with D2 right now is, for me, I don't know if this is the same with anyone else, but for me, Fizz is probably my favorite to get the auto promotion just within the form that he's in, and he already holds win over Broth. So it'll be interesting to see if anyone can knock Fizz off of the top, assuming that he gets there, and then if Broth can maybe get a win off of him in the second half of the season to make it close. However, if Broth is in the playoffs, I mean, he does have that history of not being able to push through. Would this be the season that he does it? Or do you see someone else that's not being looked at the moment, maybe like one of those former D1 players taking that other spot to promotion?
Not getting it done just because he knows this is most likely the last ride with Messi.
Yeah, that's an interesting point as well.
I wouldn't put it past us seeing Fizz and Tech go back up. Fun fact, though, Broth's next match with Fizz, first game, Fizz was home. The follow-up game, Broth is going to be home. So that, first game was, I think it was only by one goal difference. So, I mean, that potentially is 2-1, yeah. So definitely, I mean, with Broth having the home field, quote-unquote, advantage, potentially it's not out of the realm possibility for him to steal points there. But if we're playoffs, I think Pepperoni is probably going to grab that second spot.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
Yeah, no,
I still kind of
I'm
consider
with.
Brock. Go ahead, Seb.
Yeah, I'm with Wired on this one. Like, I think Fizz is gonna take first spot, and I want to believe in Broth, but like I think all of his previous losses they might come into play, like get him like a little more nervous on the attack and not try his best game, and I think that might cost him at the end.
Yeah, because when you haven't done something once, it does put that pressure on your, like, you have that thought, like, in the back of your head, like, every time you play it, that
Yeah.
is this going to be the one or not? And that just can throw your game off sometimes. All right. Looking at Division 2 stat leaders right now, so Ross, 2 guys, Muriel and Messi, have 8 goals and 6 goals respectively, and that's 14 of his 18 team goals right now. Is that gonna? Looking at that, is that going to be like an issue that he's only scoring with like 2 guys at the moment, whereas Fizz is kind of spreading the wealth around, or are those 2 guys enough to carry Broth?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't it last season that Muriel got that red card and things all started to go downhill for Broth?
That is correct.
It was.
That's correct.
Got to worry that when if that kind of thing would happen again, that would be pretty inconvenient for the man from New York.
To Warren's point of is it enough? I think what we have to look at here is you look a little bit further down. You don't get another NYCFC score until you get to Condoglia at 2.
Mm-hmm.
But what's more concerning for me is that you go a little bit further down and you have a DP, Antoine Griezmann, with only 1 goal so far this season.
Good point.
If Broth is going to make a push, then Griezmann is going to have to be more productive.
Right. I agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, he did grab him a little later, but
Griezmann's got 2 total goal contributions.
he should be either assisting more or scoring more if he's playing him as a cam, which I believe that's what he's doing. But
yeah, so I don't remember like what formation Broth plays, but I mean it could also be like kind of a situation I was in with Depay where like you have that DP player, but you're playing them out of position, so maybe they're not in their best spot. I don't know if that's the same for him, but that could be like something to consider there.
Look at this move by Bo, and then the pass to Carlos.
It's just tough too because you don't know if he's making second assists, and I don't recall off the top of my head. It cuts both ways, right? It can be projected as a problem that he's not getting enough out of the DP, or you can look at it as all he's got to do is unlock 4 goals contributions from Griezmann in the second half, and that's just great. That's just gravy. He's already got a great record. We've seen balanced scoring teams do well. We've seen heavy, top heavy teams do well. It's Muriel and Messi. They're going to score a lot of goals. I tend to not think of it as really an issue either. A positive or a negative, I guess.
That's true. Who really needs anyone else when you have Messi?
Yeah, and Muriel's a stick homegrown, right? I mean, it's
yep.
Yeah.
Muriel's got 15 goal contributions. Is this the season that he wins the BK award?
No. He's got to be the leader in the clubhouse.
For the sake of Broth's controller, I hope so.
All right. Anything else sticking out to you guys here on the D2 stat sheets or tables before we move on?
Just real quick, pretty cool seeing Kyle hanging around a playoff spot because I think the last time he was in D2, it was a rough go start to finish. So he's making the most of his of another shot at it.
Yeah, it's nice to see like if you have like that D2 experience, but it didn't go well for you when the second or third go around comes. If you're able to like turn it around, looks like he's hanging in there now. Good to see.
And after 35 years being in the tournament.
All right, and then last but not least, we have Division 1. So quick run through of the table. So you have PSG, myself up there, 18 points with a 6-0-1 record. Then you have Uber, surprise number 2 to some people there, 4-2-1, 14 points, 4 points behind me with the same games played. And then you have a hodgepodge of people under us. So you have Dews, 8 games played, 11 points. You have Colby, who has 3 games in hand on 5 points, or 5 games played on 9 points. So you would expect Colby to like push into like the top 2 or 3. And then you have Isaac under Colby, who has 8 points on 8 games played, who's having a bad season, you can say, after winning the title. And then you have Seb currently in the last spot, 6 points on 5 games played. And then under that, you have Oddshot and Bobby on 3 points currently. And I don't know if the table's completely updated. However,
it is not. So okay. I mean, if we're going with my 2 results today.
Oh yeah, that's right. So Bobby's Pat, on 6 points now with
Pat would have 14
games. And then so Deuce would be on 14 with 2 more played than myself and Uber.
Yeah, I mean it looks interesting. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Bobby.
Go ahead.
I mean, it looks interesting, but it's Fugaze. I mean, it's going to be Warren at top. Colby's going to get number 2. No offense, Uber, but the question really becomes: does Uber hold on to 3? Does Isaac regain his form and find his way up into the top 3? And then you've got an interesting relegation battle. It's basically the same D1 always is, even if it looks interesting right now.
It's Uber season.
It's going to be Warren. It is. Relatively, it is. I mean, he's having a great year. He's playing amazing. I don't think I'm insulting him when I say that I expect Colby to pass him, but you never know.
It's totally fair.
And hey, Uber has a win on me, so I wouldn't write him off.
I do have 4 points from Warren and Colby right now. So
yeah, I know. Look, you do the same.
Yeah. I mean, most recently, Isaac did that and then won a title, so you never know.
For sure. But he's got to do it in the second half.
More surprising is the fact that last season he scraped a win, and that saved him from relegation. Now he's way up there.
Waited until week 14 to pull off my first win of the season, so definitely a big turn. But I started playing with the 4-2-3-1 formation at probably my last 3 or 4 games last year, and it definitely improved things quite a bit, and it's just carried over to this season. And having Harry Kane up top over Luka Jovic is quite the upgrade.
You also freed Gio Reyna, so
true. Things turned around a little bit when I did a bit of just playing Reyna versus Bobby, and now he's my starting cam. So 2-star weak foot, be damned, he's in there playing.
Yeah, I completely noticed. Like, this motherfucker's playing fucking Reyna against me on purpose.
Yeah, so Uber definitely the biggest surprise. You could also say Isaac's form is also a big surprise because he's only averaging 1 point a game. I mean, 8 points on 8 games, especially after a season where he won the championship. Currently, as the table stands on projected points, if everyone continued to pick up points, Isaac would be like in one of the relegation spots. So very surprising to see that. I don't know if like the championship hangover is affecting him, but any thoughts on that?
He cut his hair and the form's gone out the window. You should never, whatever good omens you have, whatever he had last season, he should have kept that exactly the same. But he's cut his hair, and it's cut his win ratio in half. So I feel bad for the guy. I know. It's always difficult when you fly so close to the sun to then pick yourself back up again and go again. Maybe it's a bridge too far for him this season. I think next season we'll see the old Isaac back, but yeah, it's been rough this year.
We'll see. First season of a new cycle is always interesting because everybody's trying to figure out the game mechanics and see what high promotion has to bring to the table, and then it's always interesting.
Yep, I definitely agree with that. So we'll look at D1 like this. So who do you guys have like as your regular season favorite? Who you guys have as your playoff favorite? And then who you guys see as the relegation favorites at the moment?
Sorry, Bobby, I got you going down.
Oh, it's not.
Just the fact that you're down there now and you've got the most games played in the league. It's a tough hole to get out of. But I mean, you still have another game with Oxshot.
I have another game with Assad. I have another game with Isaac. Two more. I mean, back to back against Colby and Warren. And then I believe I have you left as well.
Yep.
So
it's
not a good outlook.
I think there's no. I can't see a world in which Mbappe doesn't pull through. I think as the season kind of gets into that final stretch there, you're going to make that Hail Mary pass to Mbappe and let him do the rest. I think that might be just enough to bring Lyon out of the relegation zone.
Well, Mbappe sent me to the shadow room yesterday with the fucking Berbatov spin, so that might have kickstart hits the other half of the season. We'll see.
Got 6 goals in 5 games. 5 of them are from Mbappe. So live with Mbappe, die with Mbappe.
It's going to be through him.
I just ask that every remaining match be played with the telephone recording on.
Oh God, please!
No, you guys want to hear me cursing out? Then yeah, by all means. Oh, you mean Assad with the phone?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I want to hear more hot takes about trades. That's what I'm here for.
Touching on Lyon real quick, it's interesting that you could argue that Oxshot probably has the best set of DPs in the league right now with Salah, Mbappe, and Gomez. However, if you're looking at like the stat sheet, Salah is nowhere to be found on the goals, and he only has 1 assist. So for Oxshot to get out of the relegation zone, yes, it's good that you have Mbappe, but if you can find a way to get Mbappe and Salah on the same wavelength, that should be enough to get points to get yourself out of trouble.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. It's just a matter of whether the thumbs will deliver it, but I think it's a perfect read.
And he's tied with Colby for most games left, so I mean he's got the most real estate to work with there too.
Sure, yeah, but with him maybe not playing as many games as everyone else has, if he would be like out of form or not, because I mean, he started the season 0-4. If not for the result over Bobby, he could still be winless in the division. So it'll be interesting to see what Oxshot does in the second half of the season.
That's a really interesting point, actually, because now that you mention it, he starts out in bad form probably, but if he's also playing 8 games in a week or 6 games in a week or whatever, you got to figure he's humming by the end of that, or maybe he's deeper in a rut and then he's, anyway. It will be interesting when he does finally start playing games because the games are going to come fast.
Yep.
Couple wins early. Does he?
Because he's losing Mbappe, anyways, going into a new cycle. Yeah. So it's not like I don't question his motivation, but when you're not fighting to hang on to the best player in the game, that definitely affects it a little bit.
Sure. Yeah.
But as far as the favorite, I think we have PSG getting the golden avatar again, and and that's as far as my predictions will go because I don't know if I'm gonna even make it. Like this last two results were actually this last result against Bobby really hurt my chances. I really needed those 3 points, or at least 1 point out of that game, and that was not very good. So I still have PSG and Colby to play. So
there's a rumor that there's a special avatar for someone that wins the Cup and the D1 playoff in the same season, and I think we might see it be used after this year. That whether it's Colby or Warren, I have a feeling that's the double's going to happen.
Is that a new avatar, or has that not happened yet? Has no one done a double?
It hasn't happened yet, but it's rumored there's one out there.
Wow.
Could it be a green jacket nod to the Masters? Possibly.
Yeah, rumors swirling that does exist. I can't confirm nor deny, but it'll be interesting to see if that does happen this season, or if we have to continue to wait to see if the double does happen. Because we've been close, it just hasn't happened yet.
So Isaac didn't win Cup last year, huh? I'm tripping.
Yeah, because Colby.
Colby. Oh, okay.
So Colby has the silver ring right now, and Isaac has the gold ring.
Gotcha.
I believe Isaac won the league first, then they played the Cup final, correct? Or was it reversed?
The cup was played before league.
Okay.
So Colby could have won the double last year, but then Isaac beat him in the league final. All right, and then looking at the D1 stats real quick. So once the table gets updated, Ronaldo will be on top with 10 goals. And then behind him, you'll have Paqueta, a midfielder, Fekir, Cam / second striker, and then Andre Silva, Luis Diaz, Harry Kane.
AKA the Rat.
Yep. And then Mbappe and Renato Sanchez are also with Silva, Diaz, and Kane on 5 goals at the moment. Any of those names that's sticking out that you guys will see win the Golden Boot and potentially be the MVP favorite?
Warren's got 14 goals from midfielders. Good Lord. There may be more on that list too, but just seeing those two guys up there, that's impressive.
It also gives us an insight into why. But also gives an insight into why Memphis moved. I mean, you're getting production in other areas. Again, if you can add, somebody like Coman who can go out in the wing, be a more true winger. I don't know. It just seems like we're all in trouble the rest of the second half of the season.
Yeah, so a little insight for me. So Paqueta and Depay are very similar players. Just felt like when I played them two together, like centrally, they get in each other's way. So that's why Depay just can't really be like the second striker anymore. So I just went to like a one striker formation, and with Paqueta and Renato being able to be the box to box beast that they are, and it's just a better flow for the team.
Is this where I'm supposed to cue the singing of the Rock's What Can I Say? You're welcome, or however that goes?
I mean, we'll see how
Moana watchers.
Yeah, we'll see how Coleman factors into it for the rest of the season. But I mean, it's still tough for me to like lose a final, or as we touched on, like in the transfers, it's tough for me to lose like a former MVP of mine who's given me a lot of success. So,
well, I can tell you based on today's friendly, Memphis is doing fine. He's doing fine.
Yeah, we hope to see Memphis propel Newcastle in the future, or not for the future. At least it's one season.
Who knows? Maybe it's some Memphis magic, and we'll make a playoff run. Doubtful, but you never know.
He's a proven winner.
So what I would say is what I've seen out of Division 1, my Golden Boot favorite is probably Ronaldo. He's scoring a lot of crucial goals for Benicia and Deuce at the moment. And he's like one of the best strikers like in the game, so that's what you would expect from him. With the form that Deuce is in, being able to get goals here and there using Ronaldo, I don't see anyone being able to catch him for that golden boot if the form continues.
It'll be interesting to see. I mean, Paqueta, Warren's established a long track record of getting goals out of midfielders, so I would not be surprised in any way if Paqueta continued toward pace. At the same time, with the proper balanced lineup, does that change the balance for Warren at all? And to piggyback on what he said, I have Venezia has a very home heavy schedule coming up, so. Go look at Ronaldo. If you have a minute, go look at Ronaldo's goal form at home versus away. And I wouldn't say I'm the favorite, but certainly going to be Ronaldo will certainly be in the conversation one way or another.
And Fekir for Colby it kind of gets overlooked because he's only on 5 games. But I mean, Fekir's got 6 goals, so he's averaging over a goal a game right now too. He could
definitely
get right up there with you guys.
I mean, anybody from Colby could go up there. He's got 10 games left or whatever. I mean, anybody could. Yeah.
Well, Pat, not to call you a sandbagger, but of your 6 game papper at home, so there's plenty of opportunities for Ronaldo to.
Is it back down to half? I guess I did have a couple home games. At one point, I had, I think 6 of 9 left were home, but I guess I have quite a few home games now. So yeah. Anyway.
All right. Anything else from Div 1 sticking out to you guys before we move on to Cup?
Nope.
Nope. All right. So Lowe's League Cup, we are getting into the business end of it. So after this round, we'll be in the quarterfinals. The teams that are already in the quarterfinals, you have Villarreal, Arsenal, Venezia, Paris Saint-Germain, Goether Fürth, and Minnesota United. And then we have Barcelona, who won earlier. And then we're just awaiting the last game from Celtic and Seattle Sounders. So all of this is obviously cup draw, subject to the cup draw, but out of those 8 teams, do you see like any of those teams, or out of the teams remaining, and then the teams that can potentially be in there, do you see like any of those teams making a run, maybe to the semifinals or the finals, that would be a surprise?
Maybe Isaac's seeking redemption for Cup, and he's focusing more on Cup this year.
That would be a good point.
Yeah, I mean, Isaac's always a favorite considering his, in-play ability and his home ground. So,
yeah, I mean, he statistically does have the best team in TSL. So,
but also when you're going to start your 2 strikers in a cup game that you normally start in league play, he's already at an advantage.
Oh yeah.
Another 80+ striker on the bench.
Yeah, three homegrown strikers is maybe a little too much, but hey, it's his team.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised to see one of those 3 be the first traded and once homegrowns are eligible.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. There's no one banging down the door for being able to trade more than Isaac. I mean,
I'm tripping. Who's the third? Isaac, Isak, Silva, and
Patrick Schick.
Oh shit! All right.
Yeah.
Schick is probably the best one out of those 3, I think.
Yeah, that could be argued, but he has more like comfortability and familiarity with Silva and Isak at this point, so that's why you see like Schick riding the pine. Unfortunately. Yeah. But yeah, I could see Arsenal making another cup run. He's done it before, and he's always a tough out.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a surprise by any stretch, but he's always the favorite in the cup. With the usual suspects. I mean, it's a 3-man race. short of the draw, putting Paris Gruther, Arsenal, short of, I'm just gonna call it first. Yeah, it's called short of there being some dramatic or not dramatic, but kind of outlier matchup where it's they all get stacked together in the next two rounds. I mean, what do you, if you're a bookmaker, what are you putting it at? Minus 20 to 1 or 1 to 20, I guess. That it's not one of those. That it's not one of. If you take those three teams, what would you lay? I mean, I'd probably lay 20 to 1 or something. So,
So for me, if I'm having to pick like a dark horse for a potential cup run, obviously we have the known ones that if they make it, it's nobody's surprise. But Minnesota United with Jonathan David up top and the ability that his guy has, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if Minnesota made the semis.
He has Chiesa too. I mean, it's a pretty stacked roster, honestly. I mean, I can pull it up right here, but I'm pretty sure he has a pretty good set of homegrowns on his team.
Yep.
I mean, Chiesa's better. His third DP is Odegaard, and Chiesa's actually rated higher than one of his DPs. He's got Locatelli, he's got Tonali, Kieran Tierney, and I don't even know if Max Arnold even plays for him. Probably not, because Locatelli and Tonali in the middle.
Yeah.
And then I think that's right.
David's not even a DP yet. And then you look at who else he has on his roster. Soyuncu, Bellarabi, Saliba. I mean, these are that.
Martinelli.
This is really good. He's got Skamaka too. Yeah, Martinelli. This is honestly a pretty stacked roster.
And given his D1 history, I think I hadn't thought of that, but I can't disagree with that at all.
Yep. I also have to give.
Sorry, it has been posted in Newswire before that. Colby and Warren have two of the worst overall ratings on their team. So.
And this was a few minutes back. Bo's header blocked by Doug Galford.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thumbs make up for it, though. I don't want to hear any sandbagging bullshit.
Hey, but the numbers do not lie. Statistically,
they don't lie. They don't. Yeah.
I think out of who's won games in this round already, no offense to Sloppy and Doug, I don't really see either of them. I don't know if they'll even make it through the next round. I'm doubtful. Sorry, guys. But everyone else who's won their matchup, I mean, these are all guys who have played at a high level. I mean, aside from Webbs, everyone else has D1 experience, and I think Webbs is at least at that fringe D1 ability. So I could see, based on how the draw goes, obviously, any one of these teams that has already made it to the next round make a run to a semifinal or even a final.
And then I was going to touch on Barcelona real quick because in Seb's game, he unleashed Kolo Muani today, and him paired with Luis Diaz in the cup could make for a dangerous duo to defend whoever gets him in the next round.
I'm always happy if I make the semifinals. If I play 4 games total, that's a successful cup, unless I run into Colvio or Warren in the next round. I think I always have a pretty good chance of making the semifinals. But I have Luis Diaz. He's a beast up front. Overall, at 84 overall, it feels good to play him against 79 center backs. It's pretty nice.
Sure, yeah. All right. Anything else you guys want to talk about in Cup before we just open it up to general talk to finish, or if anyone wants to throw shade at anyone?
We're throwing shade. I think that's a whole different theme, and we can start with 5 at the back, but I won't go there.
Nah, this is the time. If you want to go, gotta generate content.
No, it's just just fucking around.
Is 3-5-2 the Devil's formation?
I don't know
How you play it? I'm not even. Maybe we shouldn't even talk about it because it's ridiculous. But I think it's how you play it.
Yeah, it's all depends. But I mean, everybody has their own thing.
It's just hard to break down, but it's not. I think I have more of an issue with any sort of overhead pass. Like it's just the worst. Like the players just like forget how to play soccer when there's an over the head pass. It's ridiculous.
I think for us, it's more magnified. It's more magnified. We notice that for the ones who play clubs, so we see it more. Versus the others who maybe are not in that on a I wouldn't say day-to-day basis, but on a continual basis, they're playing clubs. They don't see like the ramifications of how a five in the back affects offenses. I mean, I think that's for us who are in that, we see it more, so we cringe whenever we see the five in the back.
I agree with that entirely, but when I go 3-5-2 when I'm chasing the game with Fati and my left, trust me, I'm not playing with five. Like the dude is not coming. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it just depends on who you got out there. If you've got five defensive-ish kind of players, yeah, it's a nightmare. Fati's not tracking a run for his life, so it's effectively a four back anyway. I'm sure other people have similar experiences.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Just how you play the formation, everything. Personally, I don't care if people play like five in the back or whatever. It's just tough to break down. But yeah, it is what it is. People have different styles and stuff. You just have to be able to adapt to it.
And honestly, I think that's a good thing. I mean, I don't think we want everybody playing the same formation anyway. It adds something and it creates something realistic, right? Like,
yeah,
if I was playing against Warren, when I do play against Warren, I pack the bus. Like, why wouldn't I? It's ridiculous not to. It'd be a dereliction of duty as a coach. Like, try to open the formation up, right? So, I mean,
well, you don't play fullbacks run against Warren? Come on.
I actually don't change your tactics, but I just said that. I was just actually that's the tactics. But I'm certainly not calling my fullbacks forward. I can tell you that.
I will say that I'm going to play the same way. Obviously, giving up 9 goals between Kobe and Warren shows that having my fullbacks run up the field all the time is not really the best idea, but whatever.
Fair enough. Have fun and be next year, Bobby.
This
is the spice section, right?
Fullbacks get a bad rap in TSL, man. So I've seen some people act like they're just, stay back while attacking merchants. But I was talking to Dudes the other day. I'd love to have Mazraoui and actually use him in my build-up. Because I do. I get my fullbacks forward, and you just have to pick the right time. I mean, they can't make everything run forward, but
fucking Des makes every run forward.
Speaking of fullbacks going forward, so when Bobby was playing earlier, he's out there skilling with Des, and then if Des loses the ball, Des is out of position, and then Seb is taking off on him down the wing. I was like, Bobby, chill out.
Well, is Des one of those like fullbacks that has like low defensive work rate too?
He might.
He is high attack, low defensive rate.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what you want to see. I love a good saucy fullback. I'll say it.
I mean, prime Danny Alves was high low, so it just depends on how good the guy is.
I will say this: and Warren will attest to it, that I have even considered picking up Cuadrado with his 5-star skills as a DP.
I'll be pretty saucy.
I've talked with Colby about that. Where if I needed like a 5-star winger, I would take Cuadrado and play him as a winger just for the vibes.
That's what I was going to ask you, Bobby. It's like, would Cuadrado play fullback, or would you push him up the field?
I would push him up to the like outside mid.
Yeah.
That's 3-5-2, wouldn't you? I mean, that's as natural. That's kind of to go to what Dur was talking about. That's kind of why I've been experimenting with 3-5-2, trying to get the most out of my best homegrown. And I think, off the cuff, I would imagine it's the same concept, right? You're going to want Cuadrado with as much attacking, nobody in front of him, right? You want him to have that whole channel, I would think.
Yeah, I couldn't play a 3-5-2. I mean, he would. Right now, I'm rolling with a 4-2-3-1, where like Savio is playing that right outside mid, so he would basically just slot in as a right outside mid.
Yeah, we could do that, of course. Yeah, you could play him just straight up as a midfielder for sure.
Any surprises for DPs that are not on a roster? We've already discussed Lukaku.
Yeah, I'm definitely surprised Lukaku didn't get picked back up. That was interesting.
Yeah, I thought he might have gotten picked up right after I dropped him, but I guess he wasn't.
It's probably a case of people just not wanting to burn their waiver spot on a guy that they're only going to have half a season.
Yeah,
I think that's it too.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, in terms of like DPs that aren't on teams, these might be like lower rated guys and stuff, but I've considered multiple times this cycle picking up Rafinha just to have like a left-footed winger on the right side to be able to cut in and stuff. But
he's bad.
Yeah, like he's really good, and it's crazy that he's never been on a roster since the dynasty started.
Wow, that is crazy.
Was he? He was a. Was he a DP already when the league started?
Yeah, he was like he's like 80, 81, something like that.
Okay, I don't know why I was thinking he may have been at 79 when we started, but it would be very surprising no one at that.
Yeah, no way. Yeah. With that skill set, no way.
If we had started in like FIFA 20 instead of FIFA 21, we could have had guys like Vinicius, Rafinha, Nkunku, Haaland as guys that are DPs now. Or not DPs, homegrowns.
That's gross.
Imagine Haaland. Oh my God.
Yeah. What's crazy is somebody's probably going to blow up, and then somebody will have like their own Haaland and maybe like a FIFA or two.
Brandon Johnson, come on, let's go.
I don't mean to stray away from the DP argument, but I think like that point right there, Warren. Who do you guys think has that potential to be that first guy that blows up that's on a roster? Obviously, for me, and he already kind of is Phil Foden for Scrub. I mean, he's integral to Man City, and I mean, I think he's at 84 right now, and he's probably just going to go up even more next season, I guess.
Say the other one would probably be Rafael Leao for AC Milan after the season he just had.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
And then obviously Luis Diaz too.
Yeah, if he keeps that pace up with Liverpool, he'll get a few more bumps, I think.
Yeah, and then if Darwin Núñez takes off, Gator will have a guy for.
Yeah, Núñez.
And Gator also has Kamavinga, who's Cruz or Modric injury away from being a starter. Well, I guess Valverde is technically ahead of him, but
you can also look at like RJ.
Go ahead.
You can also look at like RJ's roster, and if Musiala starts progressing a little bit more, he's gonna blow up.
He's like 2 cycles away, though. I think there's, you don't have to leave Barcelona, to see, Gavi. I think it's another one like that. Like they're not going to be 80. Well, I want to say they're not. Of course, they could be. I'd say most likely they end up in the low 80s next year. And then I'm with you, Bobby. But if we're talking about who next cycle specifically, those guys are probably veer off. I would think as coveted as they are.
But also look at the roster that Kev inherited. So he inherited Jude Bellingham and Kareem Adeyemi.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Jude Bellingham especially probably the next to just take off. So we'll see.
But also Adeyemi's move too. I mean, that's potentially going to be huge.
Yeah, all Adeyemi has to do is score like 20 goals in a season for Dortmund, and he's just going to blow up as well.
I mean, that's so much easier said than done because I mean, look what happened to Malen, moved to Dortmund, and then obviously he had Haaland with him too. But there's depth on Dortmund right now for that striker spot because I'm sure they'll want to give Malen another shot.
Yeah, especially the money they paid for him.
Mm-hmm. Just looking at some other guys, I mean, if Saka just keeps up his growth, I mean, if Arsenal can get off to a hot start next season, and then he's going to be a starter in the World Cup, like he could blow up within a season.
That's a good one.
He better play better than he did against Hungary. So
that game didn't matter. The
whole team needs to play better than they did against Hungary.
Actually, the whole team just needs to suck, and then USA and Wales get out the group.
Oh, I forgot RJ had Vlahovic too.
Yeah,
he does. Yeah,
I don't know if he picked him up or inherited him, but Vlahovic, really good.
I think he picked up Vlahovic.
I think he did, but also Kyle with Wirtz.
Oh yeah, Florian Wirtz. Yeah.
Sucks he's coming off an ACL tear.
Not to be selfish, but I hope Paqueta gets a good move, and then he'll be starting in the World Cup for Brazil. So would love that.
That's a good one.
Just to move from Leon, I think, to up. But maybe with the World Cup, he'll get a lot of boosts.
Yeah.
I know we all don't want to. I know we all don't want to hear this, but if Tomori has another good season, Kobe's just has a stalwart for years.
Yeah, Tomori's a beast.
Red's got Tchouaméni, which I'm not sure how much playtime he's going to get at Real Madrid because Casemiro plays.
Wait, to Real Madrid?
Wait, I haven't heard about this yet.
It's funny. You think you'd see Fab tweet about it at some point, but I guess not. Yeah, I don't know how much playtime he's going to get initially there, but that's a really good one. And this is just guys who are already homegrown. I'm just going through every single roster.
Yeah.
Pedri, obviously, he's going to look like he's going to be a stud.
Yep.
Wick's got Koundé.
That's a good one.
If Barcelona can somehow find this money that they think they have.
I mean, they just have to get rid of half their team, but sure, they can do it.
That's kind of those are some of the names I saw just kind of digging through. I'm sure there's guys who are right at the cusp or still really young who fit that profile too. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see who that first 85, 86 plus player will be that someone gets as a homegrown.
Who is the highest homegrown? Is it Silva?
I think it's
maybe
Mendy.
Foden. Or Mendy.
Yeah. Or non-goalkeeper, non-goalkeepers though.
Non-goalkeeper is probably Foden. 84.
Oh, Foden.
It's 84? Well, then
Silva's 84.
Diaz is 84, and I think Silva's 84 too.
There's 85 there.
Did anyone say Chiesa? Chiesa's an 84, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Even though he's injured?
I think he's still 84.
They'll do that next cycle if they do it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's 84.
Downgrade him like one. Yeah.
All right, fellas, well, I got to get going, but this was awesome.
Yeah, on time. Success.
But yeah, if there's anything else anyone wants to talk about, we can, or if we just want to end it there. It's been a good first episode, in my opinion.
Yeah, hopefully we get more people involved. If you're listening to this on the replay, I mean, this is a lot of fun. Definitely want more people to join in next time.
For sure.
More opinions and thoughts.
Co-sign.
Like and subscribe.
Smash that subscribe button.
Smash that.
Shout out to our sponsors: Taco Bell, McDonald's, Lowe's. Please give us money at some point.
Uber Eats.
Speaking of,
if any club out there is considering a sponsor with a fast food company, please do. We will use your club forever in pro clubs. So just have an open mind if this somehow reaches someone in that position.
All I'm saying is top 10 team in the world. Not to toot our own horn, but top 10 team in the world.
That's right.